welcome back to another episode of Go On, I'm Listening. I'm your host, Taty, and this week we have a very special episode because I actually have someone here with me who I got to meet one time and he agreed to come and show so much love on this show, y'all. Give it up for my friend,
Thank you.
Zach! Oh my God, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing great. I'm great.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for coming out here. Okay, so there are a couple people in the world who probably didn't get a chance to experience or know you yet. So for the people who don't know you, can you give us a brief little preview of who you are, Zach?
Mm, who I am? Okay, that's a loaded question, but I'm a recording artist, performing artist, a poet, director, songwriter. I do a little bit of everything, but mainly I'm a man that just loves creating music and expressing myself through the art and just putting out positive energy.
Yeah, you definitely do express yourself through your art very, very well. I love that you call yourself a poet because I definitely feel like some of your lyrics are like poetry. They give that energetic, positive feeling, like in the song, This is the Best I've Ever Felt. Yes. I felt so energized listening to that. Like, you know what? This is the best I ever felt. You yes, right, Zach. Yes. Talk to him. Yes. So how did you feel making that song and what does music mean to you?
As soon as I heard that beat, it gave me the Pharrell vibes, the real happy, no pun intended vibes. Literally. And I just wanted to do something that was uplifting and positive, but also had a bounce to it. You could dance to it a little bit. It had a nice rhythm going. And I just wanted to do something that was a mantra. The more I do music, the more I realize how powerful it is and how much it can be pushed into the environment and the universe and really change things for you. So making music for me it's therapeutic. I know that's cliche to say, but it is really therapeutic. And I use it as affirmations, as a mantra, because if I think of the lyrics, I write them down, then I record them, which takes a long time. You got to do, takes after take after take. Then if I'm hearing it and I'm performing it and people, all of that is just affirming it into the universe.
That's absolutely right. And I feel like too, like you do speak the power of the tongue, first of all, is so essential, and making sure you're speaking life over yourself is the reason why you're able to succeed and go far in life. And I do know that your music makes people feel like they're close to their goal. So I love that you're able to tap into like what makes you happy and write about it and share it with us. Yeah. So thank you for that, Zach. Zach. Okay, so you said it takes a long time to make a song, record it, get it mixed and mastered and all that, right? So that takes a lot of patience. How do you exercise patience when it comes to life in general and also when it comes to having people exposed to your music?
Patience is key for everything and everything you do. As I've gotten older, I realized I don't have as much patience as I thought I did. But you got to dig deep for it sometimes. I think as you get older and you get a little wiser, you start to find other sources to pull from to have patience and discipline. For me, sometimes I just stop and just take a couple inhale, exhale. It seemed really basic, but sometimes that could really, even if it's just one or two, that could really just calm you down and help you, give you a little more perspective on the situation at hand, which in turn could give you some more patience.
You're so right. And I love that you mentioned just taking a deep breath sometimes, because sometimes we have to go back to basics. Yeah. Sometimes we got to go to the root to figure out what's the issue here. Why am I not sprouting in the way that I should? Or why do I feel so overwhelmed? And I know like being a Black man in America, first of all, can be very overwhelming. And breathing for us as humans is so automatic. We sometimes forget how important it is for us to take control of it, and to really center ourselves. So outside of taking intentional breaths, what else do you do to center yourself?
Okay, one, being breath work. Two, being going to the beach. Just driving out to the beach. I love the area I live in. I'm 30 minutes from the coast.
Oh, that's so awesome. Sorry.
No, it's so, yeah, because I grew up in LA, so same deal. Beaches was like half hour, 35 minutes away. So now I still have that. Of course, Bodega Bay beaches ain't LA beaches, but they still nice. So I go out to the coast a lot. I I write poems and I write music. That grounds me a lot. I watch a Laker game, which that could backfire on me because if they on some BS, that wait, can I cuss on this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, if Lakers on some bull, they be having me hot a little bit sometimes, but I love them no matter what. So watching the games really just calms me, grounds me, puts me back center. Just because my fondest memories growing up was watching the Lakers with my grandpa, or thinking about the championships they won back in the early 2000s, and just the bliss and just the excitement I had from that. Whenever I watch the Laker games, it put me back in that space.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, I love that. That sport was able to have such a positive effect on you as well too. Do you play basketball?
Not like I used to.
Okay.
I used to, from age 6 to 19, 20, I didn't go 2 days without playing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then I had a couple injuries that slowed me down a little bit. And then life happened. I don't have as much time as I used to. Because I'm really, for me, my two passions was basketball and music, right? Like a lot of kids. And I feel like I never really did both. I feel like I would dedicate one at a time. Like if I was really focused on basketball like I was growing up, music was kind of an afterthought, but then it kind of shifted slowly but surely. So now it's music and I don't play basketball as much.
Got it. But you still watch it, so in a way you're still consuming the sport.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Talk about it, watch it, yeah.
I love that so much, Zach. I love that. Okay, so to be dedicated to your craft takes a lot of intention and motivation. For me, Zach, I'm such a heavy procrastinator, man. I procrastinate so much. Do you have any familiar feelings with procrastination?
Oh, I have too many.
What? Okay, tell me a little bit about it.
Now, I don't know if procrastination is hereditary, but it might be because my mom, love her to death, shout out to moms, but the whole family knows she's the one that's always gonna be late. She the one where if we got a function at 7:30, we telling her it's at 6:30.
Okay, that's me too.
Only to hope hopefully we still get there on time. You feel me?
Because that's not enough time.
Even that don't be enough. And also, she's a procrastinator, and I remember she always used to tell me, she used to say, Zach, procrastination is like a dream killer. And she's like, don't be like me. If you got something you need to do, or if you want to work towards something, start on it right away. Don't put it off. And I always hear that in the back of my head, but still I have my moments where I'm like, I can get to that tomorrow. I can do that. I can do that in a couple hours. And I feel like I've kind of put myself in a corner with that, because even in school with procrastinating, I was always good at cramming. So if I had some homework due in fourth period and I'm in first, I was able to do it through first and second and still get a B or A.
Oh,
so that was like counterproductive. Yes. It didn't help me because it just kind of confirmed to me that I could make it all happen.
Hell yeah. And I feel like you're so right. It is such a slippery slope when it comes to that, because my best work comes from me hurrying up and getting it done. So I get you.
Some of my favorite are verses people like the most are songs I've done. The majority of the ones that people like are the ones where I didn't think about it too much. Or I knew I had a studio session on Thursday. I was supposed to be writing Sunday, Monday, but I kind of start writing maybe Wednesday, even day of. Right, on the way to the studio, I'm in the car.
Listen to the beat, okay, what can I get from this?
Trying to finish up verses on the way or when I get to the studio. And a lot of times those be the best work.
Wow. You're so right. And I feel like sometimes that just teaches me a lesson in letting go of control. Because I think with me, and I'm really trying to get out of being a procrastinator, because there's so many things I could have accomplished by now. But I think that when I get in this zone where it's like, okay, I have to finish this, it starts feeling like a job. And if I don't get a reward right then and there, I won't feel successful at my task. So I think I'm just working on trying to remind myself that no matter what happens, you're not in control. Just make sure that you're being punctual, And that's so hard. Being punctual is so hard. Because why are you telling me what time I have to be there? Can I just show up real quick? I'm going to come.
Let me do my own thing, and I'll get there when I get there.
Exactly. But what do you feel like are some of the positive effects? I'm sorry, not positive, negative effects of procrastination?
Like my mom said, it really can be a dream killer. Deadlines are real. And I think any procrastinator could also speak to. I mean, there's a times where I'm able to cram and everything work out fine, but also there's some times where I procrastinate and then I miss the mark, or I miss out on something, or damn, I should have put the application in. Who knows? I could have, you know. And to me, that's the biggest downside is that procrastination inherently is like you thinking you have time when really you don't. Time is fleeting. Time is really just kind of a perception thing, and it can get away from you really quick, you know. And I feel like when you procrastinate, that's when time really moves fast and it'll get away from you if you let it. So I just think it's a real slippery slope, like you said, because you can miss out on something big for putting off something for a couple hours that you could have just done right then and there and been done with it. Exactly, and chilled after.
Yeah, you're so right. You're right. Now, Zach, I actually met you at R&B Ribs with me and my other two friends, and you and your other two friends, who are some amazing people. So I don't really know too much about you. Do you have any children?
So yeah, I have two kids.
Oh, you have two kids. Okay, wow. How old are they?
6 and 4.
6 and 4.
Actually, my daughter Alina just turned 6 November 10th. So happy birthday, baby.
God, Alina. And then how about your son?
My son's 4.
Oh, he's the 4-year-old. Okay, got it. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. Okay, so have you had any complications or ran into any problems in the dating world? Are you still with your baby mom?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So are you in the dating pool at all?
I wouldn't say I'm in the dating pool.
Okay.
I might be over there putting my toe in a little bit, just seeing what's what, and yeah, I'm not. For me, I'm still in the space where I've been kind of focusing on myself, and I know that's some cliche, you know, cookie cutter ass shit, but I do really feel like I was a serial dater, serial monogamous for a while, all through my 20s.
What? Talk to me about that.
You know, I just felt like I was young and really just, because I was a late bloomer, low key. Okay. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of a late bloomer. This sounds crazy, but if I'm thinking back to like elementary school or middle school, I wasn't really the dude that, you know, all the girls would be like, oh, he's so cute. Oh my God. That wasn't really me. It didn't really hit for me until like mid to late high school. And then that kind of transitioned into, then I go to college. I went to Sac State. So now I'm a bird out the cage. Now ain't no folks around. Ain't nobody watching over me. I ain't got to go to class. I could go here and there. And I just kind of hit the ground running. And,
they let you off that leash.
They let me off that leash.
Yeah, you was gone.
You feel me? Wow. And so I got that out of my system. But even beyond that, I just kept finding myself in relationships. And I wasn't really healing from the previous one, nor was I really addressing the things or the role I played in those ending. And that just comes with maturity. You kind of, a lot of times it's hard for you to really have self-awareness about the role you played in something. And you just figure, oh, it just ended. But as time went on, more and more relationships. And then I had my kids with their mother, and that didn't work out. And then after that, I'm just like, you know what? I really do need some time to myself. I know what people mean when they say after something like that, you should really just focus on yourself for a while and truly get to know yourself, because you can go through your 20s and not really know who you are and who you want to be. So I'm still searching for that. I'm not closed off to nothing. I'm just taking it one day at a time. But yeah, I'm single, and yeah, I co-parent with my kids 50-50, and yeah.
What's your co-parenting relationship like?
It's actually really fluent. It's really cool. I guess a lot of her friends be like, she told me, because we've had a couple birthday parties together since we separated, and it's cordial. Don't get me wrong. The very beginning was a little rocky. It was rough. That period right after, naturally. But after we kind of, because it was all amicable. It was no foul play. It wasn't no cheating. It wasn't no DV. It wasn't nothing crazy like that. It was just that over time, we continued to realize that we wasn't really compatible like that. What was I saying? Oh, it's basically just, at this point, like homies that had kids. Got it. We cool. We work something out where it's no family court involved, nobody in the middle of it. We just agreed upon me having them half, her having them half. If I need to take an extra day or ask for extra day, she'll do it, vice versa. It's really an anomaly in that way because at one of the most recent birthday parties, she even told me, one of her friends was like, damn, like, you guys are really cool. Which unfortunately is something you don't see a lot. Typically you hear about co-parenting and it's usually toxic, drama, the court involved, custody, this and that, and it's just none of that for me. So I'm blessed and really happy that's the case. And it's been that way for a few years now. So.
Oh, that's amazing that you have that. Congratulations on having the mental maturity to actually make that happen, you know, because a lot of people, like you said, don't have that or they just don't want to put the work in to get that, you know what I'm saying? But since your children are they're not really in their teenage years yet, yeah. What's it like in the dating world for you having like children that you have to actively be in their lives constantly?
It's a trip. Yeah. It's a trip. I've seen anywhere from a woman that's just not interested because my whole thing is, and I'm not shy about saying this, I'm very clear early on. If it's something that might start to be serious, I'm like, I don't really want more kids. Not even I don't really want more kids, I don't want more kids. You know, it's just not something that I see in the near future. Now, could it happen? Maybe. Who knows? 8, 9 years from now, whole life change. Fine. I'm not closed off to that because I don't know what can happen. But as of now, for the near future, I don't see me having more kids. I got 2, boy and a girl. They out of diapers. They get to play together. They close in age. Yeah. I'm past that phase of just having a little baby. So I'm really adamant about that. And some women are cool with it, some aren't. And I respect it though, because, you know, I'm 33 and I'm dating women around my age range. And typically in that age range, women are thinking about kids or got them already or really, really want them, whatever, you know. So that's been challenging a little bit. And then also it's like, I also don't want to get necessarily with a woman that already got 3 or 4 of them because now you add into now we got a little basketball team and now
we got a minivan full of kids. Yeah. It's like, oh.
I gotta go out and buy a caravan. I gotta turn him out. My sedan's still getting it done. My little joint's still getting it done with the 2 car seats in the back when I got them. I don't know if I'm trying to do the minivan joint. I ain't gonna lie. Not yet at least. So it's challenging for sure. I realize I gotta find somebody that, you know, maybe don't want kids or it's just cool with helping me take care of my kids. And that's not easy, especially at this age.
It definitely isn't, especially when your partner is someone who, one, like you said, don't want kids. So they may not have that instant connection with your children because they don't want that for themselves, you know? And obviously they'll love them because they love you and that's part of you, you know, and that's natural. But on the days when they mad at you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. On the days that they're like, well, these ain't even my kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I always play that card.
Exactly. It's so risky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah. How do you navigate it when the woman doesn't have children herself or she's not a parent herself, so she doesn't really know how to be a parent to your child?
You know, I don't know because so far I've dated one girl that got to meet my kids briefly. Oh. And unfortunately, shortly after she was started to really be around them, things ended with us. That's the only experience I have with another woman really around my kids because I've always been just strict about that. I'm not going to just have a whole bunch of different women around my kids in that space.
Absolutely. So when do you introduce your girl to the kids then? When do you feel like it's appropriate?
I think it varies. I think it depends. For me, I would say 9 months to a year in. And that might be a lot for some people, but for me, I think, once again, case by case, it depends on how things is going because, of course, you have the honeymoon phase, right? Yeah. Where it's the first 3 to 5, maybe 6 months. Yeah, where it's hot, everything is fresh. Yeah. Y'all feeling each other, y'all getting to know each other. It's the best. Oh, it's the best. I'm not gonna lie. It's the best. But after a while, things start to normalize. Everything starts to just mellow out and you start to really get to know that person and you can see if it's going to be something long term. So to me, I would say anywhere from 7, 8, 9 months to a year.
Yeah, that's fair because I feel like that is enough time for them to be consistent in their character, enough for you to realize, okay, is this someone that I really want around my children, you know, because I'm not introducing them as a friend. This is a role that I'll be introducing them as to my children, you know, so it's a lot that you have to take into consideration. Wow. Okay, I know we started talking a little bit about the phases of love. Obviously, the best one is the honeymoon phase, but when you get to the normal phase of a relationship, do you think it's possible to revert back to a honeymoon phase? When the love just fizzles out and it's kind of just like, okay, I know what you look like in the mornings now, so it's a little different.
I I don't know if I think it's possible to revert back. I do think it's possible to extend and do your best to never let it end.
Oh, shoot.
I think that's possible. I do.
How though?
Uh, I think when two people are so compatible and really lock in and just really connect, I think you can have that. You just got to keep it. I think the key would be just to not always be up under each other. Don't get me wrong, especially in the honeymoon phase, you want to spend every night with that person. You want to go do this with that person, that. But I think right before the honeymoon phase ends, you need to get to a point where it's more of a healthy separation where, oh, I'm kicking with the homies, you're kicking it with your girls. We have our own things, maybe passions or hobbies we do aside from each other, but also we still hang out a lot and connect well. I think that's one key. I'm sure if you talk to somebody that's been married, you know, there's, believe it or not, still people out there that's been married for 30, 40, 50 years. For sure. And I'm sure they could attest to that. You just got to really be locked in with that person. It's got to be that real rare connection. And I do think you can just keep things fresh if you got the right two people together, to where maybe the honeymoon phase tapers off a little bit, but it's always kind of there. It still always feels like it's new.
You're right. And couples that have been together for a long time that I've talked to said a couple of things that helped them so much was communication, and just acceptance as well, and comprehension too, like being able to understand your partner and their needs, and also navigating your own and not putting yourself in a hole where you're changing who you are to satisfy your partner, but making sure that you're being compatible still and open to making those needed changes for your partner.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. I think that's because I kind of put it in a nutshell as saying like being able to connect. But everything you said is really just that. The communication, being able to understand somebody. Because it's one thing for us to both talk, but if you don't really understand or comprehend what I'm saying, then it's not a conversation. It's not, we ain't having a fluid conversation.
Exactly. Our hearts are not engaged in coming to a resolution or whatever the point of the conversation is. You're very right. You're very right. It can be mentally exhausting when you feel like you're in a relationship with, you know, yourself or with someone who doesn't want to be in it. But how do you deal with mental exhaustion, possibly in the workspace or just in general? It's a lot of pressure on Black men, so I just want to hear, like, what is your way of releasing some of the pressure that's on yourself mentally?
That's a good question. I could circle back around just to the things that I do to ground myself. That's part of it. And just remembering what's important, because it is a lot of pressures out there in the day-to-day life of Black men in America, especially. But you got to recognize that, have awareness, acknowledge it, know it's there, but not let it be everything, not let it consume you. Because if you let it consume you, then it could really drag you down a lot. I think that you can't ignore it, but you also got to just keep it moving. It's easy. It's real dismissive to be like, oh yeah, just don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Just keep moving, keep grinding, fam. Like that. That's not realistic. But I do think there's a healthy relationship you have to have with that exhaustion. Know it's gonna come. Be ready for it. Try to find healthy ways to cope with it, and ride the lows and enjoy the highs.
Wow. You're so right. I love that you were saying being aware that it's going to come, because it is. Because sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, I'm going to charge it to the game. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. And that starts to catch up when you get the bill. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes time to lay down that night and your brain won't turn off and it won't be like letting you have your couple of minutes of just, relaxation before you go to sleep. It can be hard, but you really got to reach inside yourself and figure out, okay, like, before it gets to the exhaustion phase, what can I do to make it so I'm giving myself a lifeline? Or how can I make sure that I am keeping myself active and busy mentally and always learning and being a student of life, just to make sure that it doesn't wear me out, you know? Because our thoughts can be uncontrollable sometimes. We start thinking so much about stuff that we don't even have no business thinking about, so much so that it causes us to spiral, and it causes us to lead ourselves down a road that we possibly didn't think that we would get down, and that's when the exhaustion comes in. So I love that you have the things that you can hone into to navigate your way through those dark roads. That's amazing.
Yeah, because a lot of times we worry about things that we can't really change, or even worse, things that's already happened. And I think a part of it's human nature, or at least the way we've been, just the way we're built. But I do think that it can become very counterproductive to live there too long and be in that space. I love that saying. It's one of those cliche sayings once again, but it's once you break it down and really listen to it, it's really it's key. And that's just the accept what you can't change what you can't accept. And I really try to live by that. I even teach my kids that now. I try to, even though they don't seem like they fully understand it, I still just tell them and try to explain that to my daughter in the moment. Because, hey, a lot of things my mom said, I hear her saying it now, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel that. I can see it. So,
like, you still remember because she instilled it in.
I can hear it. I can hear her saying it in my ear, and it just all makes sense now. Which is so full circle because you hear your parents say that. Yeah. Your parents say the same thing. You'll understand when you get older. Yeah. Or just take my word for it. Trust me, because my mom used to tell me that and I didn't listen. And I got old, so it's key.
It definitely is a repetitive cycle, but yeah. It's really important to make sure that we're still instilling positive words and affirmations and lifelines into your children. So, because honestly, like, whether we comprehend it or not, like, just having it there as a resource is a sense of encouragement, because it's like, oh, my dad thinks I can do it. You know what I'm saying? It reminds you so much of just, me being a kid and stuff too. Yeah. A lot of people can try to persuade you differently or try to make you change your mind or about who you are and your stances on a lot of things too. So how do you stay committed to your thoughts and what you believe in?
I gotta get that to my mom. No doubt. My mom, we didn't always have the best relationship when I was growing up. A lot of bumps in the road, but I love her to death no matter what, because of the principles and values she instilled in me early on. Back to what we were saying, hearing her say in my ear, like, it's only one you, Zach. Don't fall to peer pressure. She just was always very adamant about those points of be your own person. Don't be a follower. Think for yourself. You one of one. Everybody know that famous one. Their mama said, "If he jump off the cliff, are you gonna jump off the cliff too?" I know everybody mama told him that at least once, no doubt. And all that stuck with me. And as I got older and more confident in myself and more sure of myself as I got older, all of it kind of came together. And it just made me realize that the way I think is unique to me. Everybody ain't gonna agree with that. Everybody may not even want to do that, but at least if I think it's the right thing for me to do and I feel it in my gut, my intuition, it's telling me to do it or don't do it, I have to stand in that and not just not fall off of that. Because every time I always regret it. Because every time I go against what I believe and what I should be doing, it never go right. So I've learned to take into account somebody telling me, I'll listen. But if my mind is made up and this is what I want to do, then I'll usually do that. My friends tell me that now. Like when I do music, I got a few of my close friends that I'll send songs to. Maybe just a few of them. Just to get their opinion, because I know they're going to be honest. Yeah. I know they're going to be just raw and brutal with me. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, yeah, I love this song. It's just dope. But like, maybe I would like change this one line. And I'll hear it out and I'll even entertain it. And if I agree, I'll do it, no doubt. But if I don't, then it's like, nah, I like it this way, but I appreciate that perspective, that feedback, your input. So I've just learned over the years that you got to believe in, you got to trust in yourself. You got to just go with your gut.
You're right. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying too about the acceptance and just recognizing that people are going to have a difference of opinion in you and whatever you do and whatever they do, you may not always agree with as well too. And I think that's the beauty of not having yes men in your circle because you want people to be able to tell you the truth, you know? But having that means you have to accept the truth, you know? And that's kind of a little hard when it's not really what you want to hear. How do you feel like you personally are able to accept the truth in a way where it's not diminishing to your character or you don't make any big adjustments to who you are?
I can't say I'm perfect in that. I think every now and then you hear something where it might be a hit to your ego, you know, sometimes naturally. But I just don't let it I don't sit in it too long. You know, I kind of I guess I'm just able to compartmentalize things and take in what somebody say with a grain of salt and maybe if it hits home, maybe it's true, maybe I needed to hear it. And I can usually take that and apply it where need be. You know, if I think it applies and maybe it'll make me look at things differently. But majority of the times it's just like I'll hear it out, I'll acknowledge it, but it might stay there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, just because someone told you the truth doesn't mean you got to take action right away. Because for me personally, I like to let things process. And that's why I really appreciate that my friends exercise the quality of patience so well. Because sometimes it takes a little longer for me to get what you're saying. Because, you know, I possibly didn't go through what you went through or had the experience like you. I was a late bloomer too. So, like, I don't really, this is my first time being here, you know? So, like, your advice is definitely helpful, but I still don't know what you're talking about, you know? So I just always appreciate when people are able to exercise patience and love. And I think that's what genuine love is. It's just being there for someone and giving them the tools to make themselves better, but not forcing them to use whatever you gave them, you know, giving them the space to make a mistake and also giving them the space to accept your advice or not. Those are really important factors of being a friend.
Because to know somebody and be a friend of somebody is to understand what makes them tick, understand how to handle them, how to communicate with them.
One red button, you're going to push it.
Yeah. Like just have the patience to understand how this person is and how to treat them and move with them. Because truth, to me, truth can even be subjective in a way. I think, like they always say, this person spoke their truth or they spoke their truth. So to me, sometimes it's all perspective. So, like I said, if it's the truth and I needed to hear it, then I'm pretty good at not letting it hurt my ego and just internalizing it and applying it. But also, it might be a truth that they see, and I don't necessarily see it that way, and we could live there with it. Agree to disagree.
You're very right. What do you feel like is the true definition of love?
Mm.
I know it's such a complex question.
Yeah, it really is.
I know.
My my scapegoat answer would just be that love is what it is for everybody. I think that once again, I'm a firm believer that everything is perspective. You know, we all view the. I mean, of course, we both agree that's a black cabinet dresser right there, but we all are operating based off of what we seen, how we grew up, how we view the world. All that shapes the way you view things. So I'll speak to it with my kids because my kids have shown me what love really looks like in its purest, authentic form. Because with relationships, I think we've all mistaken something for love and then ultimately realize maybe that wasn't love. And then you start to go through life and maybe you have a moment where you're like, what is love? Or what is love for me? But with my kids, just the unconditional side of it. I feel like there is no love without the unconditional side of it. Because to love somebody is to really embrace them, care about them, value them without any condition, no matter what. Things happen, people evolve, people change. But I think love is just pure care, admiration, and support for somebody, despite anything else.
I definitely agree with you. It's definitely so hard to define love because you can feel it from so many different aspects and they all mean something different. Like, I love my job, but like that doesn't mean that I love it the same way I love my partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I love my mom, but that doesn't mean I love her the way I love my brother. You know, it's different. So you're right. Love is so complex and you can feel so many different things within that one emotion. Um, for me, I want to say love is a choice, definitely, because I feel like you can, going back to what you said about it being conditional, or unconditional, I'm sorry. I feel like you can choose to put your time and energy into something and that can form into love, you know? Um, However, I do feel like love can be dangerous because it can make you make decisions that you possibly wouldn't make if you didn't have it. Whether it be you for someone else or you for a decision that can be life changing, you know? So yeah, love is just too complex. But back, oh my God, thank you so much for coming in and chopping it up with us, giving us a brief little preview of what's going on in your mind. Zach, you make music, so please tell people your next project that's coming out or where we can find you at an open mic night, anything.
So first off, follow me on Instagram. LBZ. My name is LBZ Laiddbackzach. You feel me? Laid back. It's funny because I haven't laid back much this interview, but Laiddbackzach. My Instagram is LBZ Music, but it's spelled like this: LBZMUZIK. I promise. I know how to spell. I went to school. I did get a high school diploma. You feel me? So I know how to spell music. But the other one was taken. So I went with the MUZIK. I got creative. You know, black folks, we know how to get creative with it. We know how to mix it up. So all my shows will be on that. I've done so many shows this year. November, I took a little break. Had a lot of things going personally. Took some trips. But I will be starting back up in December. December 14th in Ukiah. I got a bunch of dates in January and February. I'm working on a Black History Month show in February. Yeah, so it's gonna be dope. Then I also have a project coming out which I'm really excited about. It's called The Features. It's on November 27th. I'm doing a 2-part, 7 tracks each. So the first one to drop 11/27, which is Thanksgiving Eve, and the second one will drop 12/24, which, as you know, is Christmas Eve. And I just put so much time into these projects. I got some great features on it. I can't shout out everybody, but I appreciate y'all. That's coming out on everything real soon, streaming platforms. But I just want to thank you for having me on the pod. It was really dope how we met that one time, and then we followed each other, and then I saw what you was doing. I want to support it, and I fuck with what you're doing for real. Great energy. You got a great smile. Great interviewing skills. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for the words of affirmation. That means so much to me. And it means so much to me that you actually took the time to drive out here and let us get to know you a little bit better. And I feel like that's what makes the connections grow, is being vulnerable and taking risk and doing never done before, you know what I'm saying? So thank you for your time. Thank y'all also so much for tuning into another episode of Go On. I'm listening. I'm sorry, baby, I hit you every week. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Go On. I'm listening. I am your host, Taty. And as always, I will see y'all next week. Bye.
I know you got all dressed up for the club. Waiting on